Folks, this is Eric Timmer, ET from iCanPodcast.com. We're going to do a little ad hoc podcast here to kind of show you how to get into editing podcasts with GarageBand rather quickly. So first thing I do is open up GarageBand. And the first screen you're going to see if you haven't recorded anything is this selection menu. And you want to choose podcast, of course. Go ahead and double click on it or go ahead and click choose, and you can name your file now or don't worry about it. Go ahead and do that and hit create. Don't worry about the other. Keep everything set at its defaults. And what happens is GarageBand creates a file for you, and a big window will appear right here. So it comes with 2 tracks. So first thing I like to do is set the track. Click on whichever one you want. And depending if you're male or female, you can click on the voice. And there's a cool preset if you look down the right corner there where I'm clicking on. And they actually have a menu item for podcasting. And the best one I've found that has kind of presets is podcasting male narrator. So with assumptions, females would do the opposite and do female narrative. But the good thing is Apple built in some presets, some compression, and some reverb and things that make it sound really good. So it's pretty cool. Next thing you can do is you definitely want to go into your preferences and make sure you're getting the input source correctly. And I was not recording during this thing, but I decided to just choose a microphone. So let's see. Yeah, built-in microphone. But if you have your USB mic or your mixer plugged in, you can use built-in input or the selection for that USB microphone. So now you're pretty much ready to go. You just click on the red record button and it starts recording, yeah? So I'm just recording some random sounds here. And pretty straightforward, yeah? And once I get to the end of this, I intentionally cough into this podcast as well. If you've watched any of my previous videos, I think the most important thing to do is be able to, when you're recording a podcast, is be able to edit out the sounds you don't like, yeah? So the volume's looking pretty good. This is kind of my preset I use all the time, so I know it works pretty well. But once the clip is done recording, you kind of move it back and forth, which is good because you're going to be able to drop in extra sounds. And you got your scrubber there, so you can go to certain spots. Down at the bottom is kind of a blown up view. And what I like to do is add under the track, I like to add the master track. And it gives you the ability to control the volume. So you can boost up the sound just a little bit. And you can also fade in, fade out, which is very important with podcasts, especially with intro music and outro music, things like that. So it's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do here is just look for a point where I can kind of delete a little section. So I'm going to move the scrubber to the point where I kind of want it. Then I'm going to go up to edit, and I'm going to split the clip, which is Command T if you want to use shortcuts, or you can just click on the split clip. Looking for a good spot here. It looks about right. Okay, go ahead and split. Then I'm going to move it a little bit farther down to the point where I want to split it again so I can cut it out, basically cut it out of the full podcast there, split it again. So now we have 3 pieces, yeah? If they're selected together, they move together, but if you independently select them, they can be moved around as you want, and you can delete as you want. So what I did was delete the middle section I wanted, and I moved the other section close. Okay, now what I'm going to do is do a little bit of fading in and fading out of the audio. So what you do in your main track is you click anywhere, and it gives you a point, and you can just drag up or down, right or left, and it gives you a fade in, fade out effect. So that's kind of cool. Very, very visual with Apple products. And pretty straightforward, yeah? Not really anything too complex so far, as long as someone actually shows you. And the good thing about GarageBand, it comes with lots and lots of sound effects and stingers and jingles. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in a jingle here. I'm just going to pick anything that's random, kind of a short one, and drag it into the jingles track. Just find the one you like and drag it in there. And what I like to do is fade in and fade out based on what jingle I use or what intro music or outro music I use. So pretty much same the front and the back. And basically, you're done with the podcast. So from here, we're going to go ahead and just share this. So Share, if you're familiar with Apple products, and pretty much everything, iMovie, GarageBand, when you share, it gives you the ability to export. So after I kind of check it out here, I'm going to go ahead and go to the share menu. And I always, well, let me save first just in case. I always export to local disk. I never go anywhere else because I like to just export it to the desktop. That way I know where it is and I know how I can work with it. So share, export podcast to disk. And there's a couple options. I think kind of you're trying to not be the quality, the higher the quality, the bigger the file. So you're trying to hit that middle spot. And I think spoken podcast is kind of a good spot. In a later tutorial, I'll show you how to do a custom one that's a little bit smaller, but still maintains the same sound. So go ahead and rename it and save it, and it'll save to wherever you want. And I have it on the desktop. So that's pretty much it for the tutorial, yeah? It's not that difficult to podcast with GarageBand. That's the best thing about Apple products is they make it relatively easy. They give you a lot of tools, and we thank them for it. Okay, guys, thanks for watching, guys and gals, I should say. Don't forget, head over to iCanPodcast.com, and we'll see you soon.